Welcome to the show, Mr. Srinivas.
Thank you.
So let's start with understanding what is your company into and what's the nature of business that you're involved in.
Over the last 2 decades, I've been primarily involved in the integration space, and we actually have worked with fundamentally a lot of the Fortune 50 companies over the years, and worked with some of the major vendors that have a unique set of offerings that with it in a technology that's been around for more than 50 years. In fact, it predates internet, and yet there is no open source technology that is out there in the market, and the market is so vast, such a big market. More than 51% of world's information even today moves in the form of files. And despite the e-commerce and the B2C markets being quite big, with the emergence of retailers like Amazon, the B2B markets have gotten stronger in the recent years. And the amount of data that's being pushed between organizations and across organizations is only compounding. It is expected that in the next 5 years, the data could grow as much as 75 to 100x from where we are today. So with the amounts of growth that we are seeing in the market and the amount of complexity that lies in the current vendor space that is out there, customers often struggle. Our customers struggle with some very basic needs. And what we have set out to do is address some of those basic problems that the customers have. So some of the problems are to do with onboarding, simplified onboarding, because of the number of systems, especially with the emergence of cloud and the proliferation of services between clouds and across clouds, and distribution of services and components within their organization decomposed, that are going to be sitting across the board, both on-prem and in the cloud, in a hybrid situation. So we are compelled to basically work with every one of our customers to be able to onboard their systems, and the onboarding challenges have grown significantly in the recent years. So that seems to be a constant challenge. So we actually created a simplified workflow-based, itinerary-based solution that allows for simplified onboarding for customers. That is number one. And another challenge that a lot of customers have is finding that needle in the haystack. We talk about very complex things today, like AI, all those things are nice to have, but very fundamental things that the business needs on a daily basis is often forgotten. And we have gone to address that basic need in this solution that we have built. And it makes it intuitive, a simple way to search across their enterprise. In fact, what we have built is a multi-vendor strategy where organizations, as they tend to grow, we have noticed, acquire similar technologies because of acquisitions, and they often are tasked with consolidation. And consolidation often is not an easy task to do, given the multitude of vendors they have to deal with and all the different technologies that are similar in nature and the amount of staff they have to maintain. So what we have done is we have actually provided a middleware application framework that would allow them to divide the whole problem into 4 buckets. So we have divided the whole challenge into 4 fundamental buckets, 4 pillars, if you will. The first pillar is receive. So no matter what the application is, whether it is an ETL application, which is a simple database driven application, or whether it is a very complex B2B application, fundamentally you have to have an ability or an infrastructure to be able to receive traffic or receive information using multiple protocols, whether it is HTTP based protocols, which are more modern, or legacy protocols like FTP or SFTP and so on. And then you need to be able to register the information that you receive in a seamless way, in a consistent fashion, and then process the information. So receive, register, process, and then deliver to whether the systems are internal to the organization or sitting outside the organization. You have to have a consistent way of delivering and guaranteeing the delivery. So over the last 35, 40 years, a lot of the current enterprise vendors that are out there, including IBM, including Axway, including GlobalScape, I can keep naming, there's probably 200 products that I can name here. But fundamentally, all these products actually have addressed two things very well. They are very efficient in receiving and delivering. But when it comes to registering the information and processing it in a unified way that is intuitive, even for a business user to understand, that is a problem that's not addressed very well. So what we have done is we have simplified that problem for our customers. So in fact, today, so even though we are releasing this product as the open source version of this, which we call as OpenMFT, which is being released shortly, we also have a commercial offering as part of Agile Data that one of our biggest customers for that is the biggest bank of Africa. It is actually present in almost every country of Africa. And Standard Bank of Africa is basically using our solution, which moves petabytes of data. And they chose our solution on top of IBM solution because they understood the complexity. They've been dealing with IBM software for the last 15 years. They understand the complexity of IBM software, and they understand what it takes for them to build the solution they wanted to build with IBM. So they talked to us, and they understood our solution, and they allowed us to implement the solution for them on top of the IBM solution. And in fact, they are potentially saving about $2 million every year as a result of implementing our solution. And they are moving petabytes of data, every month or so.
That is really commendable that an Indian company offering global solution for not just for international client, but your platform being used on top of a global brand like IBM.
Yes.
That's really commendable.
Yes. Thank you.
So when it comes to as a company, what does it take? What does it take for? I mean, this is for the benefit of all the viewers and young entrepreneurs out there. What does it take to build a solution, a platform that is that is internationally accepted and competes with a big solution providers like IBM?
Well, I will not. I will be very honest and say it is not an easy task to work with vendors like IBM. We have been working with IBM for the last 5.5 years or so now, and it is quite a challenge to actually interface with them and work with their the sales hierarchy and all that. So the fundamental thing for any vendor out there or any entrepreneur out there that is willing to build a product and want to now here the most important thing that I want to mention here is we are not competing with IBM. We are not competing with Axway. We are complementing their solutions by being able to provide an integrated solution that actually enhances the user experience for the customer along with IBM if the customer chose to. But in a lot of cases, there is no need for IBM solution given the right use case in some use cases. But in a lot of use cases, IBM solution has a very valid use case for them. So what we have done is we have provided a solution, provided a way for them to integrate our solution natively with IBM MFT or managed file transfer. So it becomes native for them to be able to manage onboarding, for them to be able to manage the processing, for them to be able to manage the reprocessing, guaranteed delivery, all those things. Going back to your question, what does it take for an entrepreneur like for a small company like us to compete? Well, we didn't think of it as competition. We thought of it as an opportunity for us to help the customers that are struggling with the problem. So if you find the right opportunity and if you address the problem that that the customers are having on a daily basis, then it becomes an easier challenge for you to address and for you to go after than uh, looking at cutting the competition or trying to compete with someone, because competing often has many levels of challenges, marketing being one of them. And there are quite a bit of layers of steps of execution that we have to go through for us to get there, right? We are not there yet, but our initial goal was to create a world-class product that an enterprise can use, right? So we care about the stability of the platform. We care about guarantees. We are providing some guarantees, and we care about the stability of the solution. So that's what we focused on. And coming to competition, we have a set of goals that we want to accomplish, and hopefully we'll get there very soon.
Coming to your presence, are you mostly catering to international client, or is it domestic as well? What's a mix?
Fortunately or unfortunately, our clients have come from multiple countries. So we actually work with one of the large banks in Canada, and immediately after we got invited to work with the biggest bank of Africa, South Africa. So we worked with them. So we have 2 international customers we help with this concept, right? But our solution really materialized in its full form just with this customer that we built, in Africa. So that's where we are right now. We have some smaller customers in North America, but we haven't really, focused just North America. And in fact, we are working with a few banks in Mumbai. We are probably in the 3rd or 4th stages of approvals, and hopefully, if everything goes through, we will have our first Indian bank as our customer.
That brings me to the next question. When it comes to Indian market or your customer base, what's the acceptability? I mean, what's the kind of mindset? I mean, they are open to solution that kind of solution that you provide.
I think so. I've spoken to about 5 or 6 CIOs in Mumbai right before the COVID started. Actually, in March, I was in Mumbai for about 2.5 weeks, end of February until 15th of March, I think, because I flew on the day when they announced the shutdown in Mumbai. I think 15 minutes prior, I was in Mumbai airport coming back to US. But yeah, so fundamentally, when I spoke to the execs in these banks and the insurance companies in Mumbai, what I understood was fundamentally, this is basically one of their operations. So this is one of their thankless jobs, if you will, that has to run 24/7. And they're not extremely happy about what they have. They don't have a compelling reason for them to spend a lot of money and a lot of time trying to change it, because they're looking at alternate ways of using more modern technology to overcome the situation. But fundamentally, the fact remains that more than 51% of information still moves in the form of files. So what we have built is a messaging solution that addresses not only files, but also other forms of messaging, whether it is Kafka streams, or whether it is MQ messaging, or other forms of JMS messaging, or whether it is coming from file systems and other file transfer systems. So or HTTP based systems. So we have, envisioned our solution, with all those things in mind. Although we have built, a few initial starter kits, if you will, for banking, for retail, healthcare, and logistics. For these 4 domains, we have actually built starter kits, if you will, for the customers to actually realize the value of the solution. Almost within 15 minutes or 30 minutes, they can actually see the full system working, in full swing, actually. So that's what we have done. So customers can actually see it firsthand how the solution works. And we are working on creating videos and documentation, which is coming very soon. We are just about to, go and launch it probably in a few weeks, less than few weeks.
what does it mean for your company to be part of NASDAQ 2020?
Oh, I would be thrilled. We would be very happy to actually be part of it, and any help we could get to um, be able to evangelize and socialize our solution in the community. We understand Indian market and the rest of the Asian markets are very conservative in terms of using legacy protocols for traditional file transfer systems, and that is a huge opportunity. That's a huge opportunity for us to be able to help them transition and leapfrog from where they are to be able to move petabytes of data through their systems, because it's only a matter of time. It's not a question of if that is coming, it's only a matter of when that is going to come to their doorstep, and we want them to be ready, and we have a solution for them to be ready.
Finally, come to the last question. MyStartup TV, the channel for startups and MSMEs like yours, and it's our endeavor to showcase businesses. What's your message and what are your thoughts about MyStartup TV?
So first of all, I do want to thank MyStartup TV for organizing this. This is a great event, and even though we came in very late in the whole equation, and we were not completely ready with our collateral, I think the opportunity that I'm getting right now to be able to speak to you and to be able to reach the thousands of people that are actually going to watch this, I think that's going to be a great value add to what we are trying to do, and our ability to go to market quickly. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Thank you very much, and we wish to host you sometime soon again on our channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.